not against them. But how about turning them off and talking and counting? Yeah, playing games. Remember all those card games we played when we were kids? There were so many neat card games where you counted. My granddaughter and I played Bug Slug. When you see a Volkswagen, you get to slap the person you're with and go, Slug Bug Red. And so I text her now, Slug Bug Red, haha. if she's not with me, she's 15 now. So I have been very impressed with United Way. We have 34 agencies that we pass funds through. We collect about $5 million a year in corporate campaigns, where if you work at Dana or Raytheon, you decide as a corporation to have something taken out of your paycheck, $1 a paycheck, $10 a paycheck, to go to United Way, and then those funds go on to 34 different agencies. So if you'd like to see some of the things that we do, I've got a PowerPoint, and I've spent a lot of ink and paper, so come get one of these. And then a little article for poor kids, new proof that early help is key. And this is where Governor Pence is going. I don't think he's going the direction that we have to have every kid that's a 3-year-old in school. No, but we have a lot of young mothers in poverty whose children need that enriching experience. And some new research that was just released last fall indicates it can turn a child around. And I work with Judge Wendy Davis, and she sends women to the Friends of Bethany program and to another program on Fairfield Avenue called Redemption House. And I teach a cognitive skills program there that's called the Feuerstein Institute. And the man who created the program is a wonderful, wonderful man. He just passed away, Juanita. Reuben Feuerstein just passed away a few weeks ago. A wonderful Jewish man that created a program out of the Holocaust to help teenagers learn how to think again and how to care again and have hope again. So this is a flyer about that program that I work with the women at Redemption House. And they're also all moms. And I had some pretty strong opinions about what I thought about a woman that would go to jail for an addictive substance or prostitute herself to get drugs. And after I'd worked there for 2 years on Thursday nights, I changed my mind. They're very beautiful women. They need love, they need Jesus, and the Redemption House provides both, and job skills training, and they want their children back. They dearly love their children. They don't want to go back to a life of crime. And the Redemption House recidivism rate is amazing. They've got about an 80% positive that women are not returning to crime. And when I've heard some of their stories, I'm like, where would I be if I'd been violently raped by 3 men as a 7-year-old, and one of them an uncle? You know, would I maybe turn to drugs too by the time I made it to 13? So when I've heard their stories, I've stopped being the judge. God is their judge, not me. But if I can offer something to help them, Jesus and this program, then I'm really happy to do it. So I think that's all. I think that's enough. Yes, sir.
I would like to thank you and these ladies. I've written down her Kayvon and Juanita Tolbert,
yep,
for all that you do. But are you, I shouldn't say this, but I don't know how else to phrase it.
Just say it.
Are you just working with incarcerated women?
Mm-mm.
I mean, where are you getting these people that cannot read nor write and have children, have been separated by incarceration with their children? Are they referred to you by Judges Wendy Davis and John Serbeck?
Mm-hmm. Judge Davis in particular. Another judge I'm working with is Judge Dan Heath, and he sees all the moms who come to court for paternity charges, trying to determine that this man is my child's father, and so he needs to help me with child support. And Judge Heath is seeing an amazing opportunity for that mom. He says, I've got an empty room next to the courtroom. I'm going to have those moms come get this Let's Talk message. They often are carrying that 3-month-old or 6-month-old baby with them. And so we're trying, he's got a little pot of money that when people come through the court system, they have to pay. They have court fees. They themselves must pay, and he's using that money to educate young moms on how to be a better mom. how to understand to raise your child, to read them books, talk to them, be sure that they're ready for kindergarten. So I do many, many other programs. It just so happens that I've talked about a program that they're involved with as well. But I'd say the bulk of United Way's efforts are going to families in poverty to help them have job skills training, to help them get on their feet, to get housing. That's also an extremely important indicator of success. Once people get housing that they can afford and stay, people then hold their job. It's when they're moving from house to house, they can't even hold a job because they're so busy trying to find just a place to put their children and have a roof. And so that's a ministry that a church started that is called Genesis Outreach that works with families. There's a couple of those in town as well that tries to get affordable housing. And once families get rooted, and then they don't have to move. It's not transitional housing. That is their place to live. As long as they follow the rules, stay drug-free, get a job, follow the programs, they get to keep that house, and they make payments, but it's a reduced payment. So we have many, many programs. And like I said at the beginning, I've just been impressed with the agencies that I'm working with and their dedication to getting people to pull themselves up by their own bootstraps. It's not about entitlement at all. Other quick questions before we get the senator. Let's get the senator up here.
Cruz from Auburn, Indiana, and I've been in the Indiana Senate for 10 years now. I was in the House of Representatives for 15 years prior to that. And this is my 5th year. Next month I celebrate my 5th anniversary as chairman of the Senate Education and Career Development Committee. So that's my specialty in the Indiana Senate. The last 5 years I was the vice chairman before I became the chairman of the committee. And so I'm dealing with education issues every day and have been for about 10 years actually. And more so in the last 5 years. And so children are vitally important, and families and intact families make a huge impact on society in general. I remember talking to the vice principal in charge of discipline at one high school here in the area, and he's had 208 disciplinary problems in one semester at their school. And he said, I'm just going to do something out of my own interest. I'm going to go back and see what's the family situation like in these 208 kids, probably their situation. And so he went back and he discovered 206 of the 208 disciplinary problems in one semester were kids from broken homes. They had 2 problems in kids who had intact families. So it's expensive, and those kids get in trouble, and it actually costs us as taxpayers then. We have to pay a lot of money to deal with these kids. And like some of them go to foster care, and some of them go to juvenile delinquency places and detention centers and all kinds of things that they go to that cost us lots of money. The White Institute, different facilities that they're assigned to. Some of these facilities we pay $100,000 a year for one kid to go to one of these facilities in 1 year. And it's amazing the cost to us. And then you put them in prison, it's $25,000 a year to keep somebody in Indiana prison. So it's expensive not to have good families. And so it's important for us as a state government to do what we can to keep good, strong families. I guess I'll wait for questions on what area of education you have an interest in here tonight. The preschool program that I think Judy referred to, or somebody did, we passed into law, which is effective just a couple weeks ago. It's a $15 million pilot program for pre-K in Indiana. $10 million comes from reverted funds that the governor has saved back about $150 million from the budgeting process because our income wasn't quite as high as we anticipated. So he kept those in reserve. And so he has to take $10 million of that reserve fund to spend on the pre-K program, and then he is to try to get $5 million from private entities to cough in some private money. So it's kind of a public-private partnership with this pre-K pilot program. And there are companies, Eli Lilly and Cummins Diesel Engine out of Columbus, Indiana, are 2 entities who indicated they would make pretty sizable contributions toward that $5 million. And they'll take that 15 million and they'll have a 5-year pilot project at 5 schools. They've been selected but not announced. And today's Tuesday. It wouldn't surprise me by the end of the week, by Friday, you might hear an announcement of which one of those 5 schools get to be the pilot programs. So they'll each have about $3 million over 5 years that they can spend on that program and just see the results that we'll study that and see how those kids do that have these pre-K experiences for this 5 years in Indiana. So that's kind of that program. So Judy, you want to come up then and we'll let the panel take place now.
I'm not sure exactly how to do this. I can take the microphone back to you. Those of you who have questions for any of our people, please raise your hand. Okay, I'll start up here. Okay, good. Okay.
Is the pre-K program part of the Common Core? No? Because they were going to start that.
Every education thing that has to do with the state government today deals with our new standards, which are similar to Common Core, but we eliminated Common Core in Indiana, but the new standards are similar to Common Core. But the answer would be yes, there would be a definite correlation between what these students would be learning, probably would have some corollary to the Common Core things, because almost all the books that are printed today are in line with Common Core. So it's hard to find anything in education today that's not in line with Common Core that's printed for the public schools. And this is, also I will say, this pre-K program is open for private schools. So this can be a voucher program, so a private school, Central Christian School out on the east side of town, they could call, I don't know if they're going to be picked one of the 5, and I don't know how they're going to pick the 5, but they could have been picked, and the parents could get vouchers for this program. So it can be private or public schools as well. I don't know who they're going to pick, but they're down to 15 initially, and I just talked to the governor's office yesterday. They said we've made our final 5, and we are announcing it in the next few days, is what they said.
Do any of the rest of you have anything to add to that?
I would just add the good news about Common Core and the new standards is that Indiana's in charge of them.
Yes.
Okay, they're ours. Yes, they look a little, there's some standards, but it wasn't like all the Common Core standards were bad. It's that they weren't ours. They're now ours. And we don't have to take a test called the PARC, which comes from out of state. We don't want to participate in that. So that is a great, thank God, is that test is gone and the standards are ours.
So then who's providing the information and how to these kids?
They actually can choose their own curriculum. The state is not requiring any particular
The
curriculum.
state government is out of the curriculum business. About 3 years ago, we eliminated the state government dictating any curriculum. So every local school, corporation, or private school, it's up to them to choose the curriculum they want.
I was just going to say that my heart really rejoiced when I heard about that preschool program. My specialty is early childhood education. And it's just building it's forming the building blocks. Those first 3 years, first 5 years especially, are so important. That's the foundation of how children learn to learn. And it's so critical. And some children are not just, they're not exposed to that early learning. When I was a principal, had children to come in that was basically 2 years behind coming into kindergarten, because when you haven't had the early childhood experiences, you come in with a large gap behind the other children. So that is a great thing, that early childhood is very, very important.
I might say some of these kids are disadvantaged. They have about a 10,000 word vocabulary, and a child who has been read to, talked to, and had discussion with their family and friends, they have a 30,000 word vocabulary. So when you have 3 times more words that you know or the other kids know when you're 4 or 5 years old, it makes a big difference in your life.
Who will the staff ever see?
Well, whichever of these appointed schools, and I think at least a couple of these, if not maybe all of them, will be public schools, will do this. I would hope they would pick one private school, at least out of the 5. But they already are schools, so they already have their programs, and some of them, like Fort Wayne Community Schools, they were in the top 15, were they? I don't remember them being in the top 15, but they already do preschool programs. They already have preschool classes. So some of them they pick may already have them. Maybe they all have preschool programs that are already in place, and this will just be one that the state tracks and gives them extra money to do things that maybe will help the kids better.
Hunkered in the sand, middle of nowhere. The war was raging, and he didn't think he'd be spared. He told his buddy, "Guess this is the end." His buddy looked at him, said, "Don't say that again, 'cause we're stronger than that. Trouble causes screaming, we always holler back. Don't let it get us down or throw us off track. Always stand together.